Hello, good evening, everyone. This is our sixth webinar session with Ms. Nivedita Mukherjee. And today we are meeting here to discuss with you how Capstone High facilitates competency building in 21st century learners and how the learning journey of students have moved from physical classes to virtual classes without compromising on our core values: curiosity, conviction, and compassion. I'm Ratna Ghosh, the head of school at Capstone High, and I will be taking you through today's session along with my colleague, Ms. Suchishmita, who is our middle school coordinator. Ms. Suchishmita will be facilitating and moderating the question answer sessions today. As you all know, our core values had always been student-centric learning, supporting students to be confident leaders of tomorrow. As per Ken Robinson, the fact is that given the challenges we face, education does not need to be reformed. It needs to be transformed. We believe that the key to this transformation is not through standardized education, but through personalized guidance to build achievement on discovering the individual talent in each child, to put students in an environment where they want to learn and where they can naturally discover their true passion. We believe that mindset, motivation, and metacognition, the M3, are the fuel to students' ability to be lifelong learners. At Capstone High, our team is working hard to spark this. Our academic team, as well as our administrative team, who are almost 24 hours attending to parents' needs, be it through mail, be it over phone. We as a school believe in that being human is important, and students need to nurture their personal, social, emotional, and physical skills to connect to the grassroots level and society as a whole. As such, our focus had always been health and fitness and leadership through Capstonia, communication and language competency through Capilla, we believed in building scientific temperament through our program CAP Sci-Fi and STEM. We believe in nurturing creativity and critical thinking through art integration, and we do that through our program Capscala. We also promote sustainable heritage and culture through social science show and tell. Let us have a quick review in how our students showcase their learning through a photo gallery. In November 2018, our student Adish Bharatraj was selected for under 14 national basketball team, and the Karnataka team won a gold. Our students had been interacting with schools in international basketball game, and our girls had achieved the runner-up position, and our boys were the winners against RV International School. Every year, we take the students through different events, be it intra-school, within competition, within the classes, within the peer, or with outside school. And we've seen success everywhere. It is not, sports is not about winning or losing, it is overcoming one's own fear and conquering oneself. Our students in grade 2 to 5, they participated in the karate championship examination, and they were all provided with the yellow belt. With the COVID crisis, we had to move virtual. Our sports team did not stop extending their support for health and fitness on the virtual platform also. As you can see, our our sports team, they had supported students with video links for exercises which regularly happen through online classes. Coming to Capilla, theater art, it promotes communication, language, and competency. Last year, our students had taken their journey through Capilla. The grade 3 to 5 students, they showcased Peter Pan, and the middle and high school students, they put their theatrical talent to showcase their communication and language proficiency through Midsummer's Night's Dream. Theater art promotes public speaking and confidence. It displays the inner talent of a person, makes them competent in communication. Building scientific temperament through STEM is yet another focus that we wanted our children to learn through. Our students participated in the first Lego League and they were winners again. Our students also participated in the All India Missile Contest, and Hardik Patel of this year's grade 10, he got a silver medal. The students went to Bombay IIT to participate in an inter-school program, and there, though they could not win a medal or a rank, they moved to the final round. Amongst 100 participants from across the country, moving up to the first 10 is also an achievement, we believe. Nurturing creativity and critical thinking through art integration is what we believe in. And CAPS Color is a platform we provide to our students to showcase their learning journey. And here, as you can see, it is not just restricted to the students. We adults, teachers also participate and explore our inner intrinsic passion to create, to express our imagination. It's a pity that we could not have our CAPS Color this year, but then we did not stop with our learning journey through art classes. Art classes are happening virtually. Sustainable heritage and culture is promoted through social science show and tell. And last year, our 3 to 5th grade students showcased their journey through diversity, unity in diversity across Indian states, to showcase their understanding about the diversity in culture. Our students of 6 to 10 worked on a timeline 5,000 years of Indian history. This year, though we could not organize all these events as the COVID situation restricted us, but then learning is continuing. The Capstone at Home supports the learning journey of 3rd to 5th grade students when the government declared a lockdown and restricted the online classes. Our students were supported with this Capstone at Home kit where they are working at their own pace and time in the comforts and confinement of their home. With the COVID-19 situation and lockdown, our teachers quickly reskilled themselves, and the assessment were also turned into formative assessment were done using different strategies. This is an example of how we do the formative assessment online through Jamboard. Our students of grade 4, Jivit, is sharing real life experience during the virtual show and tell, where he is explaining his understanding of nature. Virtual classes at home for students of grade 4 and 5. Students here are working on their PBL project, and they were working on code.org at the confines of their home. Students are supported at home by their parents. The students take their online assessment through Google Form. Our learning journey continues, and as per schedule, the periodic assessment also happened in the month of July and August, and our students took their assessment through Google Form and live worksheets. Online teaching strategies followed include the Jamboard. We have the timeline and mind map supporting students' learning journey, and their learning outcome is measured through their expressions through different strategies and tools. Kahoot quiz and quizzes also test their understanding of knowledge. We take the students through their virtual field trip through Google Earth, and this is an exploration of the Ellora caves. Our online assessment on exam.net helps students take their PA1 assessment in grade 9 and 10. This is our batch of 2020 who made us proud through their achievement in the CBSE May 2020 examination. We are happy to announce that we are due for extension of affiliation and upgradation for 11th and 12th, a process we are going through right now. And we all going well, we should be able to offer and welcome our grade 11 batch next session. Coming to the end of our journey through physical classes as well as virtual classes, we are getting many questions that are hovering in the minds of parents ever since the beginning of this academic year. We have already conducted 5 webinars at the beginning of the session to give comfort to the parents how we are going to take our virtual classes. It is now time to discuss about our way forward. Some of the questions that are coming into the mind of the parents that we very often are coming across are: when will school reopen physically? Will they be ready for next year? What is the support parents can offer at home? What is in store for implementing NEP? Parents, if I may add, NEP is the national education policy that the government is planning to implement soon, maybe from the next academic year. And it is again based on developing the competency for 21st century learners. Our session today with Ms. Nivedita, an education consultant for many upcoming schools and institutions across India, and our academic advisor, will surely enlighten your path of your child's learning journey ahead. We hope this session will help many parents and large teaching community in providing solutions to many thoughts that are hovering in your mind. Without much delay, let me take you through the flow of event. If you have any questions that you would like to answer, please put it up under the live comments, either through Facebook or YouTube. We will have a wrapping up session at the end. We will compile all discussion points from today's webinar and share with all of you in the next 1 week. We hope we will be able to answer most of your concerns, if not all. COVID-19 is here to stay with us, but we will surely pass it. Pray, wait, and trust. Over to Ms. Nivedita.
Thank you, Dr. Ratna. And good afternoon, parents, teachers. And it's my privilege to again have a discussion with you, and I'm looking forward to some interesting questions, perhaps difficult questions, and let's see if I can clear the test. And together we can work out some solutions for the situation and the problem that we face. I'm very happy that Dr. Ratna, you brought out the aspect of NEP, and I was glad to see in the presentation that amongst the highlights of NEP, I think Capstone, your school, is covering most, if not all. You know, just for a quick recap, there are about 5 key highlights of the NEP 2020, which is one is education for all by 2030, all children to acquire foundation literacy and numeracy by 2025, ICT integration in teaching and learning methodologies, bring 2 crore students back to school, focus on 21st century skills in teaching, learning, and assessment, and new curricular and pedagogical framework of 5+3+4. Out of all of this, what I understand is relevant to our Capstone community are 2 of them: IT integration in teaching and learning methodologies, and focus on 21st century skills in teaching, learning, and assessment. Both of which we had started, fortunately, well before COVID. Over the past 2 years, we have been, shuffling, and we have been moving. The curve was growing, so we were not in a very deep, difficult situation as we had to overnight transform into completely online learning. So I don't see, besides access to devices in case of some of our community members, whether teachers or students, other than that, we didn't have much skill level issues, and the openness to learn new, which we have been working on for the last couple of years. We have the whole school has been actually going through multiple advancements in the curriculum and pedagogy, has kept the team in good stead. The
I will
curriculum and
say, Ms.
curriculum
Nivedita, in a very good state.
in a very good state, isn't it? See, they say that the learning should be holistic, integrated, enjoyable, and engaging. The pictures that you showed, I think, did represent the adequate amount of integration, a lot of holistic. The children certainly looked very happy and very engaged. Uh, so I think we're quite there. We can certainly be better. The graph can always go higher, but given the learning curve of human beings, I think we have done quite well because of the openness of our team, the intention and the vision of the leadership team. Uh, it's a good place to be. Let us see what are the questions that are facing us. If there are some things that we can resolve by
The most burning question, Ms. Nivedita, at this point is the central government has given the decision to the state government to open school. But then the situation, as you know, in Bangalore is also the cases are rising, they are becoming stable, they are rising. So, the burning question now is when school will reopen, and if school reopens, whether students will be there coming to attend classes physically. Because I think by this time, uh, like even parents have come to an understanding that learning is happening continuously. So, what will happen when school reopens? And how do we handle the COVID situation? That's the burning issue today, not just with parents, students, but also with teachers.
absolutely fair question. I must say that if any of us had the crystal ball to gaze in and figure out, okay, now that day and that date in the calendar is when we can go ahead with it, it would have been great. But given that is not the situation that any of us have, we will have to wait for the directives of the state government, because the central government has given the decision over to the state government. Every state is facing a different situation. Every location wise it is different. So just as we had confinement zones of whatever reds and greens and oranges, similarly area wise there will be decision on school to reopen. uh, as and when those decisions come, the schools will reopen. They will give us the standard operating protocols of safety, and ensuring how we can manage with the current situation in absence of complete possibility of safety. So that is one aspect. How can we prepare ourselves? I would say that whatever the journey we have undertaken now, we do that and do that better. We participate more in online learning. We participate more in ensuring and enabling our students to keep pace. We participate more in ensuring that individual needs are met. And we do competency based learning, which is something which is very key in Capstone. We ensure that the child is learning at their pace, in their time. So that is something we have to ensure both from the parents as adults, from parents and teachers side, for the students, so that irrespective when the school opens, how many times the child can come to school, whether the child can come to school at all or not, depending on their home situation. If you have geriatrics at home, if you have people with comorbidities at home, if the child has situation of any kind of respiratory disorder, any kind of asthma, um, any of those kind of situations, if the child is unable to attend while the school is open, we would do what we would do otherwise when the children were absent to our physical school. We will support them with materials, with guidance, with handholding. And now that we are all completely online, anything physical will be much easier for us to handle because we are used to handling the physical uh, schools anyways. All of us are used to handling that, so that is not new to us, not new to the parent, not new to the student, not new to the school administration, and definitely not new to the teachers. That is not new. This is a new game. When we mix the new game with the old game, we can only get better because we will be just more comfortable with doing either or both. It's like, throw whatever you want to throw at us, we will be able to deal with it. So the students, I'm sure, will be ready because the classes are going on irrespective.
No, but they will be happy, I'm sure, to come back to school, because
Oh,
what they're
yes.
missing is the physical proximity with the teachers as well as their peers.
Oh, yes. I'm sure teachers will be very happy to do their little corridor chit chats, a bit of hug and, high five with their children. I'm sure they will love to have that. Don't we all want to do that?
Another question that keep coming to us from parents: will they be ready for next year?
Right. So, what is the criteria of being ready for the next class? If we are doing individualized education, if we are doing competency based education, then the readiness for each child we will have to work upon. As I know that the teachers are working upon the kind of formative tests that are being given continuously. It is for ensuring that every whatever is being taught is being understood. So it is more concept, and as it is in even in NEP, notwithstanding the COVID situation, where anyway they have told the syllabus is shortened. Even in NEP, they have mentioned to ensure that the focus has to be on conceptual understanding and not on rote, which means the extent of syllabus content will be reduced, but the skills and the concepts will be focused on. And if we can ensure that the grade level skills, and we know we are working on the standardization of the curriculum. We are looking at the various vertical integration of our curriculum. We are aligning our curriculum vertically so that grade to grade, whatever are the actual skills and concepts that the children should be ready with, they will be ready to move to another class. I don't see that as a problem. As far as content or knowledge goes, there is no dearth of knowledge that a child can acquire at any given time because it's all available. If they have the skill, if that they say, if they know how to learn, they can learn whatever. So our job has to focus on ensuring that they know how to learn. Like in foundational years, they say, if when you learn to read, then you can read to learn. So if you can teach the learn to read, if you can teach them how learn to learn, then they can learn themselves.
As you rightly said, we have vertically aligned our curriculum, especially this year, with guidelines from CBSC, who has reduced and given us an alternative plan. So, following the CBSC curriculum framework, we have aligned our vertical mapping, and along with our uh, curriculum spread out over the whole year. And we are doing it comfortably with the students, and the different instructional strategies and tools that I just now displayed, through which the teachers are assessing their learning journey. We should be able to make it comfortable for their moving on to next year.
Right. The mandated content is asked to be focusing on key concepts, ideas, applications, problem solving. So if we can manage these four, the student from one grade to the other moving is not a challenge. I must assure that to the parents,
and,
and we
and,
are
and
focusing on that.
we have we have basically mapped the vertical. We have
Yes.
aligned the vertical with the expectation of the board, so that they develop their competency all across, and it's a smooth journey forward.
Absolutely.
So I think there is a question by Miss Bela. How is the new policy different from the existing policy? Will it benefit the kids? Ms. Nivedita, you had been working closely, and there is a webinar with you. I think we will be sharing the link also with our parents where they can learn more from you. But if you can quickly give a gist of how is the new policy different from the existing policy?
Surely, surely. I will try to keep it brief. See, the academic structure, one big difference has been the academic structure from the old to the new. And that's a very palpable difference. So I like to highlight that. Uh, there were the K-12 was only considered as ages 6 to 16 and 16 to 18. So it was a very 10 plus 2 kind of a system. There was no scope for the foundational portion of the age groups. So that's a big difference. So the new pedagogical and curricular structure is foundational, which is the age 3 to 6 and 6 to 8. These are the two groups that come within foundational. So up to 8, which is already exists in Capstone as the EYP years, up to age 8, which is up to grade 2, is actually foundational years, which is now that they are coming up with. Then comes the preparatory years, which is grades 3 to 5, which is like the primary that we have in Capstone. Then class 6 to 8, which is 11 to 14 years of age, which is 3 years of middle school. And then 9 to 12 has been put in one category. So that is that makes the secondary stage. So it is foundational, preparatory, middle, and secondary. So this is very different from the 10 plus 2 system and has moved to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 system. The key priorities are actually, very interesting of these. So in that situation, the reforms that are going to come, which means the change, the difference from what it was to what it is that the focus is on the national mission on foundational literacy, then universalization of early childhood care, then this is very key, setting up of a national assessment center called Parakh, Parakh. That is a very interesting setup, which will actually balance out the government and the private schools, because there will be an independent body which will monitor the progress, the outcome-based learning, the milestone-based learning, the competency-based learning of all the schools. It will be an independent body. It will not be an authoritarian body which goes and over mandates the private school, and thus the favoritism and non-favoritism and various kinds of loose flexibilities keep coming up. So that for my big interest is the National Assessment Center, which will bring a lot of monitoring. The another change from the previous one is very key is the exams in grades 3, 5, and 8. Those are the key stage exams that are going to be held for these grades, and that will ensure that they are ready for the next step. The children are made ready for the next stage. So there are details on that what would be the exam like and what would it entail to train the teachers towards that, because it will require a lot of teacher training. Another thing which interests me in the new NEP, which was not there in our earlier one, is a creation of a National Educational Technology Forum, NETF, for technology education, which they are starting from grade 6 itself, which is a very welcome change that we are going to look at. See, various countries, developmental countries did have. Brazil had, Vietnam had. Uh, uh, what we didn't have in we had in some pockets in India. Uh, did you know that key stage exams have been held in school level learning in some around 10 states in India, which does not unfortunately include Karnataka. And they have been measuring the key competencies in elementary grades. The census has been identifying poorly performing schools. They're targeting interventions like teacher professional development, additional resources. They are giving information to help teachers to adapt instruction. A lot of focus has been on professional development on teachers of both government and private schools. So earlier, the policies would mostly only focus on the government schools and not look at private schools at all, because most of these were government agencies. Now, what they are trying to do is create independent agency who will focus on looking at all these standards between all schools. It's irrespective whether it is a government school, private school, a tier 2 town city school, or a tier 1 city school. They want to ensure that by 2030, each of these things are completely checked off. This is a policy document. We have to remember that the execution of which, the education is a concurrent subject between state and center. So both of them together have to create implementing strategies and implementing bodies and monitoring bodies to ensure that each of these things are championed across the state. Have I
I think that's a very good move. It's a very good move because even these stage level assessment is already there in the states, as you mentioned. In some states, it's been followed, and it is their part of international curriculum also. So somewhere I feel through this national education policy, we are giving a global platform to Indian education system also,
That's right. That's right.
because there are
The
quite a few
yeah.
elements which were existing in the international curriculum, which we tried to implement in Capstone High for over the last 2 years because of its assertiveness towards competency building. But then that is naturally coming up through the national curriculum also.
Yes,
So
because it is completely expected and it's fair. You know, there it has mandated that, which was not there in the past one. Since you asked what was not there in the past, the key stage assessment and public disclosure of information to parents. So public disclosure by schools of their overall student outcomes, anonymized, but overall student outcomes to drive competition around outcome improvement amongst private schools. That is a very, very, you know, I think it's a changing.
yeah, because it's
Yeah,
transparent. It's a
yes,
transparent system that they are looking at.
yeah. So if I'm hoping that this can be implemented sooner than later, because private schools are necessary, but making them accountable is equally necessary, just as it is, of course, necessary to make the government schools accountable. So accountability overall will be built when there will be a public disclosure by schools of their overall student outcomes, and the outcomes are you know have is what is now in focus. It's not the input. So earlier the syllabus, the content, all of that was in focus. Now it's outcomes that are focused. Input requirements are made more flexible and more accommodating of ground realities, and the learning outcomes and transparent disclosure prioritized in the assessment of schools themselves. So schools will be graded, which is um, which is
Now
great,
the
and
focus is now changing from the learners to the teachers at the school, because that's where the competency building has to start.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's where the if we are talking about competency building, that's where the competency building has to start. So, Ms.
So, Miss
Nivedita,
Bella, have I been able to answer Miss Bella's question
I think
in the
through the
last?
discussion, more of this will come up. I think there are a few questions that are coming up in the streamline. I would request Ms. Suchishmita to take on those questions that have been put forth in our comments box. And Ms. Suchishmita, if you can take it forward.
Yeah, sure, Miss. So we have an interesting question from Mr. Raghunath. He's saying that in Capstone we are going for our affiliation for the 11th and 12th grade. So how, as a school, we are preparing for it? So it's, I think, a question for both of you, Miss Nivedita and Miss Ratna.
Sure, we would love to answer that. Ms. Nivedita, would you like
We're
to
much
take?
excited. Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, we're much excited to have 11th grade start in our school. And in fact, you can apply for affiliation only if you have children in that grade. We couldn't have applied if our children were not there for 11th grade. The license can be only applied for if you have and we this time I think Capstone has gone in for second renewal already has happened for up to 10th grade,
Yes,
isn't it?
it has been extended for the next 5 years. So we have our 10th grade affiliation extended till 2024. And we already have 3 batches of our students who have successfully crossed the portals of school and made us proud. So we are ready to take on the 11th, 12th. So the affiliation is due. We have already got the letter, and since we had applied in 2019 and were expecting the affiliation to happen in the month of February, March, but then due to COVID situation, it was postponed. And now that the national education policy has come up and they have renewed the structure of the education system across school to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. It's a continuum from ninth grade to 12th grade. So CBSE is also looking at schools which can offer this continuum in education. So we will be having our virtual inspection coming up in the next 10 days. So
All the
we are
best.
getting prepared for it. We are trying to put things in place because it is going to be totally virtual. Even the inspection committee is going to go through our videos of our infrastructure, of our facilities, of our lesson plans, and they will also look through online teaching. So we are getting ready for that. I think there was one more question, isn't it,
Yes.
which talks about.
There's another very interesting question which says that with this new education policy, those boxes, right, where the kids had to fit into either science or commerce or arts, would those boxes be present, or they can take a mix and match of subjects depending on their interest?
Oh, there's a whole, absolutely a fantastic question. I think you are parents of a very interesting times, I must say, and our children are the most lucky. They won't even know how lucky they are to have this kind of integrated possibility for them. Because they didn't know our times when we had to choose one or the other, when we were not ready to choose. Neither we were ready to choose. We had clarity, nor our parents had clarity of what would suit us best. But it is great that it will be, it may not be implemented next year itself, but it is it's coming, and it's coming soon, sooner than the other things actually, of integrated choice of subjects. And the integration will ensure, because they are focusing on holistic development. It's not possible to have holistic development if you don't have choice of subjects.
Ms. Nivedita, I would like to put in we have also like unknowingly that this is coming up, because when we applied 2 years back, we were not sure, but we did put in history and history as a subject. We had opted for tourism as a subject, And I think if we can offer it across, it can be a beautiful blend of a student learning uh, economics, history, and business and tourism together. Or if they can be given an opportunity to learn chemistry, biology, and psychology together, because all these will give them the professional skills that they need in the future.
Yeah, I'm
And
just pointing out here.
another aspect is the credit, the academic credit bank. If you can just harp on that a little.
Let me
Sometime.
first go back to
Sometime.
the
Yes.
to the subject skills and capacities. Concerted curricular and pedagogical initiatives, including the introduction of contemporary subjects as artificial intelligence, design thinking, holistic health, organic living, environmental education, GCED, which is Global Citizen Education Development, at at these stages, these are going to be coming up as subjects. Imagine how much choice would the children have to ensure that they step confidently and with lot of flexibility, with skills and capacities for being adaptable and being productive human beings in this, absolutely really, really rapidly changing world. In addition
I
to
would
that,
like
proficiency in languages.
I would like Suchishmita to talk about it, because she has already introduced design thinking routine in her middle school classes and
Yes.
high school classes.
Yes,
So
at Capstone, our students are really finding it very uh, challenging and very engaging to find their own problems and then solve it. So, because the problem is their own, that's why finding a solution to that becomes much more engaging for them rather than getting the problem from the teacher. They're always given a problem, right? For the first time, they're getting a chance to find their own problems. So that's what is very exciting for them, I feel.
and Miss
Fantastic.
Nivedita, during our the lockdown situation, also we started giving them problem-based learning projects. So students had been working on the problem-based learning projects, and there I can say that we are very much in sync with the national education policy that is coming up. Because already at Capstone we are doing design thinking. Our children are exposed to problem-based learning. So I think we can take it on very, very comfortably. And
Miss, we have
yeah, no, carry on, Suchishma.
Yeah. Miss, we have Mr. Darpan Thamija and Devjani Sinha in our audience, and they are both nursery pre-primary student parents. So they have a common concern is that even if the schools open, there might be many parents who have small children who would not want to send their children to school. So what is the alternative option for these children? Like do we have a plan, or like how are we planning to handle this?
Uh, Absolutely fair concern. We are going to have on Saturday. We have another session for the early years parents, right?
Yes, 20.
But however, since we have this question here, it is best we address it, and there should be, will be, and definitely an alternate option always, because it cannot be expected that all of us will have the same amount of possibility of sending our child to school. And we have been given now the skill and the opportunity to be able to take classes online. I would like to believe that all schools, not just Capstone, all schools will rise to this occasion and ensure that they will focus on how to reach education to the child, whether the child can come to school or not. Capstone at Home is a great example of taking school home long before any of this this took shape. We started reaching Capstone to home. And I think it's a great initiative that you guys have done as a school team. That because the child has to learn. The child is 3-year-old only this year. The child is 6-year-old only this year. The child will not be a 3-year-old again or a 6-year-old again. So the child has to learn when the child has to learn. The school should be able to move out of space and time confines and reach to the child. So both space has to be broken up by going online, and the time has to be broken up by giving the pace of learning flexibility to the child. So yes, Devjani and Darpan, I don't think you need to have any concern that whether you send your child to school. If your child is enrolled in school, see, school is not only a transaction. We look at school when we own the children, we co-own the children with the parent. So we take the well-being of the child, whether it is learning or health or physical health or mental health. So we take the whole child on when the school takes on a child. It's not a transaction. So actually, many times when the parents say that, what about the fee, and should we pay the fee, should we not pay the fee, education is happening at home. The relationship between school and parent and child is such a holy trinity that just as the school will think about the parent and child and should think about the parent child at every step, similarly the parent and child are also connected. When I'm saying school, it is the teacher. The connect is with the teacher. It's a direct human connect. So that's not a transaction connect. Whether that you are paying X fee in one particular kind of school or 3x fee in another particular kind of the school, the relationship between the teacher, parent and child is sacrosanct, and it's holy, and it's out within the fee structure and yet outside the fee structure. So education must continue. It is the school's role. School is duty bound. The teacher is honor bound to reach education to you. So I don't see any concern for you to whether your child is coming to school or not. Education will reach your child. Just work with your teacher.
Yes, Miss, very enlightening. Another question that we get quite often, especially from our middle school and high school parents, is their concern about how effective our assessments are. We are teaching, but how do we measure whether the child is learning or not during our online classes?
Right. Assessment is a key to figure out for teachers whether they have been able to get through to the child or not. So as important it is for the child for the assessment, it is as important for the teacher, because if it is competency based learning, we cannot teach if we don't understand the competency. So we have to ensure that our assessments are bang on, because otherwise we cannot be pedagogically aligned to competency based learning. So yes, we are doing multiple ways of assessments. I have seen the teachers of Capstone doing multiple choice questions, doing quiz, doing collaborative assignments, doing project based assignments. They have a rubric of testing out the various competencies of a particular required for a particular topic. It's fairly comprehensive, and if you wish to understand more of the assessment for your child, I think in the upcoming PTMs, whenever, if you can have a good one-on-one discussion about the assessments, because actually online assessments have been happening forevermore. So assessment is actually the only thing which has a reasonable amount of perfection. teaching was not done online, but assessment across has been done online in many or more ways, across grades, across professions, across college entry. In fact, in future, like IIT JEE has created the assessments now. Every computer gets different sets of questions. So even if they're sitting next to each other, there's no, you can't say that, okay, question number 9 ka answer kya hai? Because the question number 9 is different in every single computer. So assessments are quite, teachers are quite adept at assessments. And I know that the Capstone teachers are continuously looking at new websites, new methodologies to ensure that assessment is done across the entire layer of Bloom's taxonomy, from absolutely bottom knowledge level and understanding and application to synthesizing, analyzing, and creating. So all of these levels, which are also used by the National Testing Agency in the country, all across the testing is done. Effective rubrics are made. Please discuss with your class teacher in your next PPM and take a look at the, actually marvel at the kind of assessments that are happening currently. It's quite amazing. Actually, it's significantly better developed than the teaching part. I hope that assuages.
Ms. Nivedita, if you don't mind, I would also like you to harp on a little on the skill-based assessment and the vocational subjects that NEP plans to offer.
Yeah, so NEP offers is going to offer a whole range of vocational and they will all get credits for the vocational approach. There will be project-based learning. It will be equitable and inclusive, and that's where the vocational learning also becomes very important, because depending on the category of children, depending whether they are socioeconomically disadvantaged groups or whether they are a particular gender identity group or socio-cultural identities, all of them have affinity to different kinds of vocation, and those all will be provisioned for in the NEP. So there's a whole list of vocational which I think we can share with the parents and
the scheme
the students. Yeah.
In fact, we are also planning to offer a few in our school from starting from grade 6, so that they get to identify what they want to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a whole list of it. We should be able to share with students to begin with and parents then, and be able to do it. And it's not necessary that you have all the teachers in the school. For all these vocational training, it is absolutely allowed to have sessions of internships, of apprenticeships around these skills. So schools will have more flexibility. See, earlier schools would offer limited number of subjects, even if the board had more list, because they couldn't have all teachers for all subjects. It was a teacher-student ratio. The economics dictated the choice of subjects and teachers that we could have. But with this, the board doesn't require that to be a full-time teacher, because they understand the vocational training and pedagogical training or academic training are imparted very differently from different kinds of people, and we don't need to club that and constrict it for the student. Was that all right?
Yeah, and even since we are talking about problem-based learning, here there is a scope also for them to have like industrial linkages. because
Of course.
when they're exposed to experts coming in and talking about the future career path, then it is easier for students to also learn from them. And I think CBSE is also coming up with an idea where we could share resources between the hub schools.
Hub schools, yes. Absolutely.
So,
Yamini?
Smita, are there any other question that we have
No,
received?
no, there aren't any more questions, Miss, and we have also come to the end of our 1 hour. So I will request you to wrap up the session, and we will close.
Miss Nivedita, would you like to say something more to the parents before we wrap up the
It
session?
has it has it has been absolutely great talking with your team and your parents as always. I am waiting to meet them in person sometime soon and take it from there. However, at this point in time, I think we should keep in mind that uh, times are difficult, but it is not in any one of our control. So I understand that there will be difficulty. We will be upset at the various times. But if we look at all of this as a teaching moment for our children, if we are able to role model for our children as to how as adults we face difficult times and look at opportunities in difficulty, uh, I think the job of COVID would be well done.
COVID had been a good teacher, because
Yes,
if we are talking about real life situation, COVID has taught us many things.
yes.
Miss, there is just one last question that has just come in.
Sure.
Sure.
We'll just take it quickly. So there's a question is that what are schools doing to ensure cybersecurity aspect of all the students' data with this online learning? There's a lot of data that is. So how are
Yes,
we ensuring that cybersecurity is very important,
it is
especially
very
when we are
important. Absolutely, absolutely. And I must say that it is not 100% secure. Whether you are using a Google platform or whether you're using a Zoom platform, you're using a Microsoft team, nothing is 100% secure. The student data is not 100% secure. Having said that, there is a lot of back-end security work going on in each of these platforms because it's an international situation. So all of these platforms are working very hard at it. On side of school, of course, they're ensuring that the classrooms are locked. They're ensuring that what kind of YouTube videos can be shown, what kind of links that can be shared, what kind of any kind of videos which have kids only marked. More and more, you will see that all the videos online have either a kid or no kid kind of a differentiation. So when it is a kid labeled program, then nothing on the sidebar appears which is not kid friendly. So that level of AI is being done. But as far as student data is concerned, the schools may keep it safe, but at the back end, even now, it is quite clear that Google, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, none of it is assured 100% secure. That is where it is. Whether something can happen in person or bullying or any kind of sudden difficult situation of putting your child online, that I think has been adequately covered. The data we're not sure because we don't know. I mean, we have no idea. It's the big giants who are figuring it out. But as far as the rest of it is concerned, I think it's quite adequately covered when you take a school membership of these platforms, and the teachers are quite vigilant about it. What I would suggest that, when we say that, believe in Allah but tie your camel. So please be careful and be in constant communication with your child, so you know what is happening in your child's life, in your child's communication. If possible, keep the monitor uh, of the uh, any device that you're using large, big enough, so that it's not that your child will hide something for you. Maybe they'll hide something for you, but that's not the concern right now. At least you will catch a glimpse of something if anything happens. And of course you can install various kinds of nanny softwares on it, which will be safety. So yeah, the schools are ensuring, as far as they are buying the platform, but beyond that, uh, it's difficult.
And Miss, I think that it's also important for us as teachers and parents to continuously talk to them as to
Yes,
how to be responsible citizens of the cyber world. So,
see, students more or less will quickly understand that.
yeah.
Whether somebody else is stealing the data, we have no control on that, but
Hmm.
I think a lot of work is happening on that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if we are only concerned about whether the child is being safe or not, is the child wandering in areas where they should not wander, that is a monitoring that all the adults in the child's life will have to do without hovering over them. So that's again a balance that we have to when you are giving your child to the teacher in the classroom, let the teacher monitor. When the child is working at home with you, uh, keep the communication open without again hovering on your child, because then whatever communication lines are open will be shut forever.
So it was a great session as usual, Miss. So engrossed in listening to you and everything that you have to say about education and our responsibility as teachers and parents. Miss Ratna, if you would want to just wrap up, and we
Yes,
are.
I would just go over the few points that we discussed. Competency based education and skill development is definitely the need of the hour. And there is definitely a big gap that exists. I'm not talking about Capstone as a school, but I'm talking about education system in the whole. There is a big gap in what students are taught and in the classroom and what is expected of them in real life, a gap between theory and practice. Only when we can put our theory into practice we realize the flaws in the system. When we learn by doing, it is engaging and enduring. And that is what we have experienced at Capstone, because the plan that we do depends, it basically tells you how the class flow is going to be. So the preparedness of a teacher is very, very important. Engagement of a child is very important. A child needs to be trained in mitigating and controlling issues through situational solutions. And I think the COVID situation has given them that perspective to life, because they had been working on situational solutions, be it at a personal or at a professional level, a lot of which can be resolved by using common sense, which is lacking to some extent in this generation. I'm talking about my generation also, because sometimes we feel that people should apply their common sense when they're dealing with situations more. It is nothing but a basic level of knowledge and judgment that we all need to help us to live in a reasonable and safe way. So I would like to say that we need to train them to connect the classroom teaching to reality to handle life, and competency based education can develop the required skills that are needed for 21st century learners, for whom the life ahead is full of challenges and changes. So sometimes when the child gets exposed to real work atmosphere, he or she realizes that this is not the path he or she wanted to tread. Taking a U-turn in life can be very, very traumatic and painful. And we have seen it in many, many cases as adults. Somebody has pursued architecture, and like even after doing a post-graduation in architecture, in urban planning from most reputed college, may land up getting into music, the passion. So the earlier they identify the passion, and the only way to avoid dispassion is to get passionate about things that they like from the bottom of their heart and are which are long lasting and meaningful. I would say we need to expose students early in life, especially in school, to various real life challenges through inquiry based, problem based learning, PBL, design thinking routine to connect to real life around them, to identify easy workable solutions for real life problems. We need to offer them skill based curriculum to choose their vocation from. We need to provide them with choices to identify their passion. Besides building up sound interdisciplinary knowledge and application oriented competencies, skill based vocational education can help them pave their career path. It can help them it can help many drop out from school, because we have seen many of them drop out from school or universities and they take a profession which they had not been pursuing in their undergraduate. So, as I discussed with you, the university industry linkage can offer students early exposure to the demands of the industries and will help them connect to courses in their real perspective. So, college immersion programs can also help children understand expectations of industries. And it had been part of, as we discussed, the international curriculum framework since long, but students following national curriculum were rarely exposed to such experiences. But now, with this plan of introducing competency based education at school level and multidisciplinary holistic education at undergraduate level through integrated exposure of science, arts, that is literally visual as well as performing arts, humanities, mathematics, professional fields with flexible curriculum structure, as Ms. Bella had questioned, creative combinations, integration of vocations, definitely are a welcoming change at the National Education Policy 2020. As you discussed, the academic bank credit for higher studies later on in life, which is already a practice in foreign universities, will definitely help students. And surely the decision for implementation on NEP 2020 in a phased manner will help the Indian education system get a global platform. So thank you, Ms. Nivedita, for a very, very enriching session. And we will look forward to your discussion tomorrow with Vidya also. We will be sharing the link with our parents so that they can also join to get to know more from the experts in this field. Thank you, dear parents, for your participation here. And we will be sharing the gist of the discussion today in a weeks to come.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Signing off.